welcome all who enter here as we near this festive holiday. I speak words of wisdom for you. Details tonight go with warning. And remember, it's fun. But take heed and be aware. If you enjoy the channel, I ask a small favor of you. Like, subscribe, and smash the notification bell. It is a small thing to ask of you, but it does help the channel grow greatly. Thank you. Now let us begin. The pumpkin patch. The sign said, "Free pumpkins, come pick your own." Despite the offer, there were many healthy pumpkins to choose from. Of course, the largest was found in the middle of the pumpkin patch. It was gigantic and heavy enough that it needed a wheelbarrow to move. Past the patch was a small cottage. The sign on the front porch said, "Welcome. Free cocoa and candy to all who enter here." The night was chilly as a woman sat by the fireplace reading her favorite book. The bell chimed as someone entered the doorway to the cottage. A man with his wife and son shivered in the doorway as the outside air was cool and the temperature dropped significantly from the day. The woman by the fire dropped her book and offered all hot cocoa. The family accepted and was invited to warm themselves by the fire. The lady even offered the boy candy, all that he wanted. The cottage was larger than it seemed from the outside. Rooms were decorated with Halloween decor. Lit candles create a cozy yet dark atmosphere. Antique broomsticks hung upon the wall, and Halloween music played in the background. Some incense burned in the hallway, the aroma drifting throughout the house. Warm and cozy, the family thanked their host and left, heading toward the pumpkin patch. They searched for the pumpkin that they desired. Upon arriving and spending a few moments looking over the pumpkins in the field, the family became drowsy as their full bellies begged them to stop and rest. They found a spot, cozy and warm, blocked from the wind. So they sat down, and their eyes began to close, despite the chill in the air. The wind had died away, yet leaves began to rustle. Vines crept along the ground and ensnared all three people. They were carried away on strong shoulders, yet still remained unconscious. The smell of incense, melting candles, and the familiar Halloween songs woke the family up. A familiar woman's voice began to speak to them. The same friendly voice they heard only moments ago. Yet these moments had become hours, as a sudden drowsiness had left them unconscious. Across from the tied-up family stood three creatures. They were horribly thin. The torso, legs, and arms were long, skinny, and even bony. Vines crept over their skin, ending at the hands, which resembled long vines. The heads were the most bizarre, as they resembled deformed pumpkins. Jagged teeth stained red, and they had no eyes, only two black carvings full of darkness. I created them, my loyal pets. They crave human blood and flesh. It is a weakness we share. We have to wait for victims to willingly come into our home and land. You see, your deaths shall sustain us for months to come. The old woman spoke as she turned her attention back to the fireplace. The woman and man both screamed and tried in vain to break free from the vines. The more they struggled, the tighter the vines became, till they could barely move and can only watch in horror as the son was taken away. He was beheaded by the old woman, body stripped of clothing and shoes. And then he was laid in a large oven. The young couple could not believe their eyes as they watched their young boy corpse being cooked by what they can only assume to be a hag or witch. Veins tightened around the throats, squeeze in until they could breathe no more. Their bodies passed out from the lack of oxygen going to the brain. The man woke up, chained to a table, strapped where he could not move, only turn his head. Beside him was a table also covered in blood, bones, and hair. Beautiful blonde hair soaked in blood. Blonde hair. The same color his wife had. He struggled against his restraints, but once again found himself helpless to free or avenge his family's death. Before him stood a woman, a young woman, but she wore the clothes of the older woman they had met earlier. She spoke to him, a smile creeping upon her mouth. You see blood in the corner of her lips. A life for a life. Your beloved blood made me young again, and her body sustained my pets. Your body shall feed me. It will keep me young for another year. You and your family were fools. Such is the stupidity of your kind. The cocoa was drugged. So was the candy your son greedily ate. You see, I love my pumpkins. Why would I be foolish enough to give them away? It was a simple trap. One that you fell for. Hook, line, and sinker. Your foolishness has cost you your family, but it will soon cost you more. For tonight you will die. Your flesh, feeding me and my pets one last time. But wait. I could always use another pet. Perhaps I will enslave your soul and keep you here for all eternity. The night is young. We shall have to see. It was then darkness overtook the man. Calling to him like a long-lost friend. In seconds he can no longer hear or taste or feel. All he saw was blackness. Then he saw a light. A light beckoning him to leave the dark. A light he followed. When he woke, his eyes fell upon her. A young woman in an old dress. Blood on her hands and lips. It was his new master. He was now her slave. He vaguely remembered the eyes he saw somewhere before. But he could not remember. He only knew now that she was his master, and he must serve her in all that she wishes for him to do. He looked to his left and to his right. He saw deformed pumpkin heads turn and look back at him. He looked down and saw his fingers were now vines. And he leaned back against the wall, along with the other vile creatures, for they were his brothers. And he would spend eternity beside them, following her and her commands. I do hope you enjoy this little tale of Halloween. It may sound kind of familiar, but rest assured, it is my own tale. Be safe out there tonight. And remember, even though it's fun, there's still dangerous people out there. Just be safe. Remember, be aware of what hides in the shadows, in the darkness of night. Listen to your instinct. And always remember, Beware of the Shadowlands.